Announcements! It's one big general announcement in this update. I have more to say about each class in my final review video next week. You don't want to miss that one. The class party! Thank you all for coming to the class party. Great videos this year. Many thanks to Molly, Saima and Joshua for sharing the co-hosting duties. My verdict? I like it better in the classroom when people can have food and drink and sit and chat. But the videos this year were a bumper crop, and of course it was great to see everyone. I will let you know which news group won the challenge when I figured it out myself, which probably won't be until the end of the week. The final! I'm about the business of consolidating the texts and sending them to the managers. They will then have until 10 p.m. Sunday the 10th of May, that's this coming Sunday, to fix up the final edited version. It's in their hands now. Thanks for putting the sections in with the common themes and for showing the managers where you want them to put your images. The projects were unusually well organised this year, so I'm hopeful I will have some to show to the class next week. So, the managers still have their editing job to do, but if you are a group member, are you now done with the course? No, you're not done yet. You still have to do the final review exercises. Then you're done. The final review exercises. You have to vote in polls of the best postings and polls of the best essays and one or two others, and there's a favourite book poll too. When you come back next week, you can find out who won the polls. You can get up to 10 points for voting in these polls. Voting in the polls can make the difference between a C and a B, so please vote. Sometimes I have to track people down and get them to vote in these polls so they don't fail. A student who was set to get an A- wound up with a B because she didn't vote in the polls. Vote in the polls as if your grade depended on it, because it does. Check out which of your postings and essays wound up in the polls. Everyone has something in there somewhere. If any of your work places in the top 3 places, you get more points. The other year, a student who was set to get a B+ catapulted to the top of the class by cleaning up in the final review polls. What's in the final review polls? I've curated a selection of your best writing to give you an overview of what we covered in the course. These are the postings that stood out for me on this trip around. Sometimes the writing really is great, sometimes the point just shines through anyway, and sometimes the video is jaw-dropping and you should definitely check it out. You lot were great with the video this semester. Now, normally at this time of the semester, students are entering the manic zombie phase of finals, and they rip through these polls like they were a consumer survey, and all the polls come in time-stamped within the same 10 minutes. Burp! You lot paid for this food for thought. Take your time and digest it. What's the point of the final review polls? This year, as usual, you get 1 point for voting in each of the polls, but you lot also get an extra 2 if the first and last of your polls are time-stamped an hour apart. This is not an examination, it's a presentation. We spent the whole semester putting this together for your benefit. Think of it as an exhibition of what your class did really well. You're picking out the best of the bunch. Pick the ones you learned the most from. Think of it as picking the handful you would give an A to. If you do it properly, you'll realize it isn't easy to be fair because you have to sit and think about why. There's a bunch of reasons why. Those reasons are often to do with what will stay with you. What's different this year? Usually the final includes a choice of the best 20 postings. This year, in view of forum closing and the weeks when we couldn't meet, I've added the best of the pandemic postings to the mix, the P-Star postings. Take your time with that one. Like 9/11 and 2008, this has been another one of those moments when you don't know what's coming next. This is a diary of what we made of that moment, what that moment meant to us. Other classes ask you to remember. I'm asking you what you won't forget.